Hello everybody, it's been a while. I was excited to get this one in the mail today. Secret Lair Commander, Raining Cats and Dogs. Figured we would do a little opening. First up is, thank you for being a part of Secret Lair. Ooh. Give this open here. Give me a minute. Raining Cats and Dogs. What you couldn't see before. It's actually quite cute. Meow. Actually, that's quite cool looking. Nice life counter. And that all? Yep. There we go. Aww. Now onto the deck. It doesn't want to open for me. Of course. Okay, so first up, we have Rin and Siri, Inseparable. So we have a legendary creature, a dog cat. Whenever you cast a dog spell, create a 1/1 green cat creature token. Whenever you cast a cat spell, create a 1/1 white dog creature token. And for 3 mana, so you're red, green, and white, and tapping it, Rin and Siri Inseparable deals damage to any target equal to the number of dogs you control. You gain life equal to the number of cats you control. It's a 4/4. Oh, look at, if you flip it over, Rin and Siri the Inseparable. It is basically the same one, just different art. Pretty cool. I don't know, which side do you guys like more? Anywho, we'll move on. Jetmir, Nexus of Revels. Legendary creature, cat demon. Creatures you control get +1/+0 and have vigilance as long as you control 3 or more creatures. Creatures you control also get +1/+0 and have trample as long as you control 6 or more creatures. Creatures you control also get +1/+0 and have double strike as long as you control 9 or more creatures. It's a 5/4. Pretty cool. I don't know. Okay, next up we have Ginny Fae, Jetmir's Second. It's a legendary creature, elf druid. If you would create 1 or more tokens, you may instead create that many 2/2 green cat creature tokens with haste or that many 3/1 green dog creature tokens with vigilance. And of course, it's a double-sided. Again, I don't know. What side do you guys like more? That one kind of reminds me of 101 Dalmatians. Pretty cool. So now that we've looked through those ones, of course you have the these are the thick ones that you get sometimes with your commanders. And now we have the foil. We've got Rin and Siri, the inseparable. So one's foil. You flip them over. Pretty cool. And then we have Jetmir, Nexus of Revels. Flip them over here. And then we have Jenny Faye. Oops. Oh, I'm sorry. And then we'll flip that over here. And then we'll move on here to Anointed Procession. It's an enchantment. It's quite shiny. If an effect would create one or more tokens under your control, it creates twice that many of those tokens instead. Double the slobber, double the love. And then this is the other side here. Kitties. Ring stretch. Oh, big stretch. Apparently I'm still half asleep. Here we have the famous soul ring. Add 2 mana by tapping it. Here's the doggy side. And then here we'll get into the deck. We have Elm's Collector. It's a creature cat cleric. Flash, if an opponent would draw 2 or more cards, instead you and that player each draw a card. It's a 3/4. Here we have Dusk. It's a sorcery. Destroy all creatures with power 3 or greater. Or we have Dawn. Sorcery. Aftermath. Cast this spell only from your graveyard, then exile it. Return all creature cards with power 2 or less from your graveyard to your hand. We have Felidar Retreat. It's an enchantment with landfall. It has and then you get to choose one. Create a 2/2 white cat beast creature token, or put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. Those creatures gain vigilance until end of turn. Then we have Highcliff Felidar. It's a creature cat beast. It has vigilance. It has when Highcliff Felidar enters the battlefield, for each opponent, choose a creature with the greatest power among creatures that that player controls. Destroy those creatures. It's a 5/5. That's pretty cool. We have Giselle Goldmane. It's a cat warrior. First strike, and for a mana value, attacking creatures you control get +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of attacking creatures. Pretty cool. Lion Sash. It's artifact creature, equipment cat. Exile target card from a graveyard. If it was a permanent card, put a 1/1 counter on Lion Sash. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each +1/+1 counter on Lion Sash. Reconfigure. So for 2 mana, attach to target creature you control or unattached from a creature. Reconfigure only as a sorcery. While attached, this isn't a creature. It's a 1/1. Then we have Loyal Warhound. It's a creature dog with vigilance. When it enters the battlefield, if an opponent controls more lands than you, search your library for a basic plains card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Then we have Pack Leader. It's a creature dog. Other dogs you control get +1/+1. Whenever Pack Leader attacks, prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn to dogs you control. Regal Caracal. It's a creature cat. Other cats you control get +1/+1 and have lifelink. When it enters the battlefield, create 2 1/1 white cat creature tokens with lifelink. It's pretty cool. Sky Hunter Strike Force. It's a creature cat knight with flying and melee. Whenever this creature attacks, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each opponent you attacked this combat. And it's a lieutenant. As long as you control your commander, other creatures you control have melee. Sorry. 2/2. Be nice on me. Stalking Leonin. It's a creature, cat archer. When Stalking Leonin enters the battlefield, secretly choose an opponent. Reveal the player you choose. Exile target creature that's attacking you if it's controlled by the chosen player. Activate this ability only once. It's pretty cool. Now, Tocasia's Welcome. It's an enchantment. Whenever one or more creatures with mana value 3 or less enter the battlefield under your control, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. Pretty cool. Cursed Mirror. Artifact. Tap it to add a mountain, or as Cursed Mirror enters the battlefield, you may have it become a copy of any creature on the battlefield until end of turn, except it has haste. Then we have Komenu Battle Armor. This artifact creature, equipment dog. It has menace. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has menace. Whenever Komenu Battle Armor or equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, go to each player that player controls. And it has reconfigure. It's a 2/2. Here we have Feline Sovereign. It's a creature cat. Other cats you control get +1/+1 and have protection from dogs. Whenever one or more cats you control deal combat damage to a player, destroy up to one target artifact or enchantment that player controls. Look at that kitty. Here we have a Hungry Lynx. So it's a creature cat. Cats you control have protection from rats. They can't be blocked, targeted, or dealt damage by rats. At the beginning of your end step, target opponent creates a 1/1 black rat creature token with Death Touch. Whenever a rat dies, put a 1/1 counter on each cat you control. I am definitely not playing my rat deck against this one. Okay, here we have Kasali Slingers. Creature cat warrior with reach. It also, whenever Kasali Slingers or another cat enters the battlefield under your control, you may destroy target artifact or enchantment. Here we have Realm Walker. It's a creature shapeshifter. It's a changeling. This card is every creature type. As Realm Walker enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. You may look at the top card of your library anytime, and you may cast creature spells of the chosen type from the top of your library. Here I have Return of the Wild Speaker. It's an instant. You choose one. Draw cards equal to the greatest power among non-human creatures you control, or a non-human creatures you control get +3/+3 until end of turn. And here we have Kit Canto Mayhem Diva, legendary creature, cat bard druid. When it enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 green and white citizen creature token. At the beginning of combat, on each player's turn, you may tap 2 untapped creatures you control. When you do, target creature that player controls gets a +2/+2 and gains trample until end of turn. Goad that creature. Here we have Mercy, Breaker of the Coil. It's a legendary creature cat warrior with 5/4. Your opponents can't cast spells during your combat. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, goad each creature that player controls. Here we have Fabine, Boss's Confidant. It's a cat advisor. Creature tokens you control have haste, and it has Parlay. At the beginning of combat on your turn, each player reveals the top card of their library. For each land card revealed this way, you create a 1/1 green and white citizen creature token. Then creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn for each non-land card revealed this way. Then each player draws a card. Here we have an enchantment saga. It's Showdown of the Scalds. First step, exile the top 4 cards of your library. Until the end of your next turn, you may play those cards. And steps 2 and 3 are whenever you cast a spell this turn, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. Here we have Basilisk Collar. It's an artifact equipment. Equipped creature has Death Touch and Lifelink, and you equip it for 2. It's only cost 1. Maskwood Nexus. It's an artifact. So creatures you control are every creature type. The same is true for creature spells you control and creature cards you own that aren't on the battlefield. For 3 mana and tapping it, create a 2/2 blue shapeshifter creature token with Changeling. Vanquisher's Banner. It's an artifact. As Vanquisher's Banner enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Creatures you control of the chosen type get +1/+1. Whenever you cast a creature spell of the chosen type, draw a card. Here we have Animal Sanctuary. It's a land. Besides tapping it to get a land, to get 1 mana, you can also pay 2 mana, tap it, and put a 1/1 counter on target bird, cat, dog, goat, ox, or snake. Canopy Vista. It's another land. It enters tapped unless you control 2 or more basic lands. We have Cinderglade. It enters tapped unless you control 2 or more basic lands. We have Clifftop Retreat. Again, it enters tapped unless you control a mountain or a plains. Here we have Fortified Village. It enters the battle. As it enters the battlefield, you may reveal a forest or plains card from your hand. If you don't, it enters the battlefield tapped. We have Game Trail. As it enters the battlefield, you may reveal a mountain or forest card from your hand. If you don't, it enters tapped. Here we have Jetmir's Garden. It's a land, mountain, forest, plains. It enters tapped, and it has cycling for 3 mana, so you discard this card and draw a card. Next we have Scattered Groves. It enters tapped. Again, it has cycling for 2. Here we have Sheltered Thicket. It enters tapped. It has cycling for 2. And here we have Brimez, King of Oreskos. It's a cat soldier. It has vigilance. Whenever it attacks, put a 1/1 white cat soldier creature token with vigilance onto the battlefield attacking. And whenever it blocks a creature, put a 1/1 white cat soldier creature token with vigilance onto the battlefield blocking that creature. Cast Out. It's an enchantment with flash, and when it enters the battlefield, exile target non-land permanent an opponent controls until Cast Out leaves the battlefield. And has cycling for 1. With 1 plains there. Crib Swap. It's a shapeshifter, tribal instant, Changeling. This card is every creature type at all times. Remove target creature from the game. Its controller puts a 1/1 colorless shapeshifter creature token with Changeling into play. Here we have King of the Pride. It's a creature cat. Other cats you control get +2/+1. Mirror Entity. It's a shapeshifter, Changeling. Creatures you control become XX and gain all creature types until end of turn. Here we have Oreskos Explorer. It's a cat scout. When it enters the battlefield, search your library for up to X plains cards, where X is the number of players who control more lands than you. Reveal those cards, put them into your hand, then shuffle. It's a 2/2. Path to Exile. Remove target creature from the game. Its controller may search his or her library for a basic land card. Put that card into play tapped, then shuffle his or her library. Here we have Seats Tiger. It's got flash, and when it comes into play, you gain protection from the color of your choice until end of turn. It's a 3/3.
Pretty.
Okay, here we have Spirited Companion. When Spirited Companion enters the battlefield, draw a card. Look at the puppy. Next we have White Sun's Zenith. Put X 2/2 white cat creature tokens onto the battlefield. Shuffle White Sun's Zenith into its owner's library. Pretty cool. Here we have White Mane Lion. It's a cat with flash, and when it comes into play, return a creature you control to its owner's hand. Impact Tremors. It's an enchantment. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, Impact Tremors deals 1 damage to each opponent. That's pretty cool. Next we have a Tauren Mauler. It's a shapeshifter. It's a changeling. And whenever an opponent plays a spell, you may put a 1/1 counter on Tauren Mauler. Here we have Warp World. It's a sorcery. Each player shuffles all permanents he or she owns into his or her library, then reveals that many cards from the top of his or her library. Each player puts all artifact, creature, and land cards revealed this way into play, then puts all enchantment cards revealed this way into play, then puts the rest on the bottom of his or her library in any order. Here we have Beastmaster Ascension. Whenever a creature you control attacks, you may put a quest counter on Beastmaster Ascension. As long as Beastmaster Ascension has 7 or more quest counters on it, creatures you control get +5/+5. Here we have Cultivate. It's a sorcery where you get to search your library for up to 2 basic land cards, reveal those cards, put one onto the library tapped and the other into your hand, then shuffle. Here we have Farseek. It's a sorcery. And search your library for a plains, island, swamp, or mountain card. Put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Greater Tanuki. It's a dog, although it looks like a raccoon. Trample. It has Channel for 2 and 1 forest. Discard Greater Tanuki. Search your library for a basic land card. Put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Here we have Keeper of Fables. It's a cat. Whenever 1 or more non-human creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, draw a card. Lurking Predators. It's an enchantment. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a creature card, put it onto the battlefield. Otherwise, you may put that card on the bottom of your library. It's kind of hard to see it, but she's in the dark there. Here we have Masked Vandal. It's a changeling. And when Masked Vandal enters the battlefield, you may exile a creature card from your graveyard. If you do, exile target artifact or enchantment an opponent controls. Here we have Nakatal Warpride. It's a cat warrior. It must be blocked by exactly 1 creature if able. Whenever it attacks, put X tokens into play tapped and attacking that are copies of Nakatal Warpride. Where X is the number of creatures defending player controls, remove the tokens from the game at end of turn. Here we have Nature's Lore. Search your library for a forest card. Put that card onto the battlefield, then shuffle. Next we have Temur Sabertooth. It's a cat. And for 1 and a forest, you may return another creature you control to its owner's hand. If you do, Temur Sabertooth gains indestructible until end of turn. It's a 4/3. 3 visits. It's a sorcery. Search your library for a forest card. Put that card onto the library, then shuffle your library. Sorry, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. Next we have Fleetfoot Panther. It's a creature cat with you may play Fleetfoot Panther anytime you could play an instant. When Fleetfoot Panther comes into play, return a green or white creature you control to its owner's hand. Next we have your common arcane signet. Tap it to add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. It's an artifact. Next we have Bloodline Pretender. It's an artifact creature, shapeshifter with changeling. As it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Whenever another creature of the chosen type enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on Bloodline Pretender. It's a 2/2. It's pretty cool looking. Here we have an artifact. It's Herald's Horn. As it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. And then creature spells you cast of the chosen type cost 1 less to cast. At the beginning of your upkeep, look at the top card of your library. If it's a creature card of the chosen type, you may reveal it and put it into your hand. Here we have Okitra's Monument. It's a legendary artifact. White creature spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Whenever you cast a creature spell, create a 1/1 white warrior creature token with vigilance. Next we have Skull Clamp. It's an artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/-1. Whenever equipped creature dies, draw 2 cards and you can equip it for 1. And here's your common commander tower land. Add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity by tapping it. Exotic Orchard, it's a land. By tapping it, add to your mana pool 1 mana of any color that a land an opponent controls could produce. Here we have Jungle Shrine. It's a land. It enters the battlefield tapped, and by tapping it, you add red, green, or white to your mana pool. Here we have Frozen Verge. It enters the battlefield tapped. You can add it for a colorless mana, or by paying 2 and tapping it, you can sacrifice it, search your library for a forest card and a plains card, put them onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. Path of Ancestry. It's a land. It enters tapped. By tapping it, add to your mana pool 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. When that mana is spent to cast a creature spell that shares a creature type with your commander, scry 1. And then we have Rootbound Crag. It's a land. It enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a mountain or a forest. And then you can tap it to add mountain or forest to your mana pool. Next we have Sun Petal Grove. It's a land. It enters tapped unless you control a forest or a plains. Oh, look at this one. Here we have a basic land plains card, and it's a foil with dogs out and cats out in the field, out in the meadow. Nice. So here we've got another one. It's the same one. And another one, and another one, and another one, and let's see here. Some more. Here's our mountain one. So again, up in the mountains. And they're all foil. Here we have some forests. So the last one was dogs up in the mountain. This one's cats in the forest. I like those. And then these must be getting into your tokens. So we have a 1/1 dog creature token. Aww. And they are foil. Oh, but if you look at the back side here, we have a 1/1 cat creature token with foil. Looks like they've got a potions bottle there. Next, we have a cat beast, a 2/2. And a shapeshifter. It's a changeling and 1/1. Cat beast. And on the back side, a rat with death touch. A cat with haste, a 2/2 cat. With another rat with death touch. On the back side of this one is a dog, a 3/1 dog with vigilance. Here we have a 2/2 cat, another cat, and on the back sides of these, a 3/1 with vigilance. And here we have our 1/1 citizen token. We have a 1/1 cat with lifelink. Another dog with vigilance. Another citizen 1/1. Here we have our cat soldier with vigilance, a 1/1. And our warrior with vigilance, 1/1. And here we have our shapeshifter, a 2/2 with changeling. And another rat with death touch. And here we have 9 lives. It's a nice foil, it's an enchantment. Hexproof. If a source would deal damage to you, prevent that damage and put an incarnation counter on 9 lives. When there are 9 or more incarnation counters on 9 lives, exile it. When 9 lives leaves the battlefield, you lose the game. It's quite shiny though. And then we also have Maru, Ever Faithful. It's a legendary creature dog. Whenever another legendary permanent enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on Yoshimura Ever Faithful, and it has partner. Well, there you go. That would be the Reigning Cats and Dog deck that we just revealed for you here today. I think some of these cards are very, very shiny and cute looking, and I really can't wait to put it into play against the family. What's your opinion on this deck from what I've showed you today? Would love to hear likes, dislikes. What side of the cards do you like the best? And that's it from Bethany from Magic with the Minions. You guys have a great evening.